the objective of the car now? Yeah.
Batman, you got out. What's happening back there? We got directed over here and then the radios died. They keep playing this damn tune over and over.
Joker's in control of the island. He's responsible for sending you over here.
How did he get out? I mean, you're here and...
An Arkham guard named Frank Bowles betrayed you all. He broke out Joker, who killed him when he was no longer needed.
Some loyalty. Do you need any help?
No, you and your men are safer here. I'll find you if I need anything.
Batman. Thank God. We lost control of the tunnel. We got split up. Some of my guys are pinned down in there. It's a massacre.
Stay here. I'll deal with this.
I think the first time I played this game, actually, I never fully dealt with these guys. As awful as that sounds.
You're just like, what-ups?
Because I kept just jumping over them every time I came through. And eventually, at the very end of the game, it was the... Don't you want to... It was like, oh, right! I can knock these suckers out!
Don't you like it when that happens?
Yeah.
I really do appreciate that they, like, don't see the silent takedown happening.
It's...
I mean,
That's what it is.
There are ways to do this. It's cool.
I apologize for the extensive use of detective mode. I overuse it in this game a lot, mostly because I find things tend to blend into the background, unfortunately.
How dare you hurt the Batmobile? They're hurting the Batmobile!
You idiots! You want some of this? Jeez!
So, I'll eventually start giving this combat crap at one point, but a little piece of detail for you. The original Batman Arkham Asylum was initially developed as a rhythm game, believe it or not, which is why there's an amazing rhythm to the combat, which is a nice touch in my book. I don't think it was a Batman rhythm game at the time, but the combat itself is DDR, I guess, technically based at the end of the day.
That is super cool. That actually makes a lot of sense for sort of how he's made to fight. Pick up the explosive gel! Pick up the explosive gel!
Where is it?
It's in the trunk. Batman just
right.
told you. Kevin Conroy just told you!
I'm spending too much time talking to listen to Kevin Conroy for a change.
How could that... Why?
But yeah, so the game Rocksteady was working on before Batman was a rhythm game of some kind. I'm glad they went with Batman, personally.
To where she took Gordon.
I just want everyone to know that I really appreciate all the hard work. You know, watching you guys is like a night in. Watching my favorite movie.
Strange. This is Gordon's pipe. Barbara gave it to him. There's no way he'd leave it. Wild hemp. Gordon's favorite tobacco. Gordon's smarter than he looks. Left him a trail to follow. Oracle, I found a pipe. It has your father's initials carved on it.
It was a birthday gift I gave him last year. There's no way he'd leave it.
Exactly. He's left.
Didn't
me a
we
trail
just
to
establish there's no way he'd leave it? Like,
The security doors are locked. I'm going to have to find another way around to get back on Gordon's trail. The wall ahead is weak enough for my explosive gel to blow through and open up a new path.
remember when I mentioned the whole Batman, Metroidvania style thing? Well, this is what I meant by that. There are essentially parts of the game that are walled off until you pick up little pieces of gear. In this case, obviously, explosive gel's kind of handed to you. But you pick some stuff up later that opens up map sections you couldn't previously get to. And in some cases, they're necessary. In some cases, they're not.
Rejects us bored. come over and see me. Don't look up when you open the door. It'll spoil the surprise and my experiment.
I don't think there are words for how brilliant Mark Hamill is in this game. He is my sweet spot. He is the perfect Joker. I think we can go back to Barbara now, though, to talk about the Bat family, because I mean, we have our buddy Jim Gordon in danger here. And the funny thing is that the sort of Alan Moore, Frank Miller, Dark Knight Returns, Batman Year One vibe.
Wherever you are, even you. Yes, you.
Go to sleepy sleep.
I believe I messed up somewhere. No, I didn't.
Is that Batman sort of reimagined after, like, there are, you know, at least 2 Batwomen. There are 5 and more Robins. There are 4, there are at least 4 Batgirls. Like,
people be dying like flies.
Well, it's not even that. It's just that, you know, people, you know, Dick Grayson becomes Nightwing, becomes
Keep talking.
the Bat family keeps changing, and it is very large, and that's one of my favorite things about it, is that we conceive Bruce as this sad orphan who only has Alfred to take care of him, but he's basically a parent to like
bunch of other orphans.
10 kids, man. It's insane. I mean, he gets along better with some elements of the family than others. I mean, Kate Kane, the current Batwoman, almost doesn't give him the time of day, which I kind of love.
Well, Batwoman's a new concept, essentially, isn't she?
Well, no, but Batwoman, the first Batwoman was this woman who was obsessed with Batman, like sexually obsessed with him. Kathy
creepy.
Kane? Yeah, Kathy Kane. And her whole deal was she wanted to get Batman's attention, so she figured the best way to do it was to be Batwoman, which I kind of admire.
Was she good as Batwoman?
No.
Okay, so less admirable.
There was a lot. I mean, it was the 40s, 50s kind of situation. Oh.
Scram, bats! This is my me time.
Where's Gordon?
Wouldn't you like to
Over
know?
here.
Shut up!
Harley!
Whoa!
What's he doing here? It's too early.
I'm sorry, Puddin'. Don't be angry with me. Mwah!
Oh, you little freak. I can never stay mad at you.
Sorry, B-Man. You'll have to find another way. Goodbye now.
This way's blocked. Better search outside for another way in.
So Harley! Harley is a really interesting figure because Paul Dini basically invented her for the animated series. She was inspired by a and he originally just sort of conceived her as this one-off, like, Joker girlfriend, you know? And what Arlene Sorkin just made this character catch on really well, and she became, you know, the cosplay costume that everybody wants to have.
Yeah, some people.
The interesting thing about Harley, though... Now I just had this
Every
image.
trash can.
I had this image of Batman hiding in trash cans now, and it makes me really happy.
Solid Snake. Under box.
I may do that anyway. Sounds fun.
So Harley.
Yeah, Harley is actually, in current continuity, they seem to actually be paying attention to the fact that she's bisexual. But Harley's whole deal is that she's in love with Mr. J, and she thinks that he loves her and would never hurt her, but he throws her out of windows. So every now and then she really figures out that she should probably leave him, and she does. And usually she ends up with one of the Gotham City Sirens, which are Poison Ivy and sometimes Catwoman. But Harley and...
Wait, Catwoman's bi?
Catwoman, not so much. I don't mean with Catwoman, although I'm sure that has happened at some point in a subtext context. But the real sort of protective force for Harley is...
Why does he need the doctors? I've got to save them.
Save the
Really?
doctors.
Do you have to save him, Batman?
Batman has to save everyone.
It's a problem.
You're crying, or I'll show you something that'll... What are you doing? Ah!
Don't you love the inverted takedown, friends? Always get the inverted takedown.
It's a little overpowered in this game, I'm not gonna lie.
But Harley, one of my favorite things is there's a, I believe it's written by Paul Dini comic called Mad Love, where Harley tries to sort of leave Joker and go out on her own, and she literally has Batman tied up over a piranha cage and is ready to kill him. Like, she is ready to do this thing. And Joker tells her that she can't because it's not funny enough. And of course, the real reason is because Joker is mad that she was able to do something that he can't, and nobody's allowed to kill the Bat anyway because he would just rather play with him.
Well, so that brings up an interesting question. Would the Joker actually kill Batman if he was given the opportunity? Because I stand by yes, he would.
He's had the opportunity over and over and over again.
No, I mean like an appropriate Joker opportunity. Like he gets his smile, he gets his laugh, like whatever you want to call it.
I try to believe that everybody... See, that's a hint about Arkham that we'll start to figure out. I tend to like my villains competent. And
Nope.
Aw.
Didn't get lucky.
Rude. I love how as you rotate around, they're like, "Where the fuck did he go? How do we track him on more than one thingy?" But I like my villains competent, and I choose to believe that, because I mean the reason that Joker can't kill Batman on a meta narrative level is Batman can't die, and neither really can Joker, because Joker is probably the most blockbuster villain that DC has ever created. I mean, no villain is more closely tied with their hero. But I think there are people who actually like Joker better than Batman.
Me.
Yeah, which doesn't happen. Like, who likes Lex Luthor better than Superman?
Me.
Well, fine.
Okay, so I guess a little backstory. The difference between me and Lo when it comes to comics is I genuinely read DC comics for the villains, and I read Marvel for the heroes. I think Marvel writes much more interesting heroes. Their villains, with the exception of some favorites like Venom for Spider-Man, are not especially interesting in my book. But when it comes to DC villains, they're amazing.
I don't know what happened. 1 minute we were doing...
But their villains, their heroes, they're a little flat in my book. Batman's great and all, but Superman, Green Lantern, everyone else is kind of unlikable because they all have these wonderful level of god powers that they could be doing more with constantly in my book. At least the ones in Marvel, the godlike characters have some debilitating issue like
They could be dead.
They're afraid if they use their powers to fix the world, some giant monster will get loose from their brain because they can't do that much good. And when they do try to do that much, a giant monster does indeed get loose. Their fears of why they can't fix everything forever are grounded in a, no, I'm super powerful, but if I go over this line a little bit too far, I become completely evil and nothing can stop me.
Well, that's Batman in a nutshell, though. The reason that they built in the do not kill rule is that if he kills, he basically just becomes a Batman villain.
Yeah.
DC versus Marvel is a whole argument that we can have.
Thankfully, we have multiple games to do that.
Yes. But I think the thing about DC, and this is the argument I always have with my writing partner because he is such a Marvel and I love him for it. The I'm a Marvel and I'm a DC thing is something I will use several times, guys. I'm sorry. I just love the idiom. Because I think the thing about Marvel is that a bad Marvel story is pretty enjoyable. Still, it's sort of snarky and fun, and you have a really good time reading it.
Like I said, the villains are a little more human. And their mess-ups seem a little bit more forgivable.
Wait, I want to hear the Riddler because he's my fave.
One would have to be severely paranoid to read threats into harmless riddles, Dr. Young. May I test you with one? Very well. What is it that walks on 4 legs, then 2 legs, and finally 3 legs? A human being.
Man.
It's the Sphinx riddle.
As an adult, it walks on 2, and in later years, it uses a cane. Good try. But the answer to all 3 is a baby. True, it crawls on all 4s, but cut off its legs and it can only wiggle on 2 limbs. Give it a crutch, it can hobble around on 3. You see? It's horrible. How can you even joke about that? Easily, Doctor. It's not my baby.